So, ladies, gentlemen, let's get this party started. Let's be honest, we're very excited about it, so let's do it. And also we're burning time. Hey. Hi. Hi. Okay, so let's have a look at some of these rear window questions and pick one that you guys feel like you don't know what to do with. 16. You actually have one that you're like, this is one that I'm struggling with. That's good.
That was in like a house of fire. Now every time that this is asked for,
Now I've got to find it. Okay, 16. Here we go. Oh, that one's easy. We did that one like as the first essay.
yeah, I'd like to
People
say
would mind their own
I
business.
didn't read it. I was like,
Oh, nah, that's a crap one. I don't want to do that. Huh?
cool. It's just like
I can't hear you. You should have it, yeah. Remember that big fat booklet that I killed a lot of trees for? Come and get one. You make me cranky. Do you know how many trees died for these? I haven't even got enough for you all. I've got one for one. And then I'm going to... you can fight over it.
email it.
I have emailed it.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Last term. No, it's like this big fat one and it's got all the exams in it. Made 60 of them. They went last term. It looks like this.
Yeah, we didn't get anything.
That's a lie. Anyway, right, I'm going to pick a question.
Best case study
Right.
for this. Have you seen my book?
Oh, yes, please. Right. Yeah, I know. None of you guys keep your notes properly. Anyway,
Okay, we can actually.
so I'm going to pick a question for you because you're wasting my time. So, good. Okay, let's go.
What is the central message of Rear Window?
What number? Okay. No. Read it aloud.
What is the central message of Rear Window on the topic of voyeurism?
What is the central message? What is the central message of Rear Window on the topic of voyeurism? Okay. It doesn't sound like an exam question, but they would ask you something similar to this. They would just word it better. They would just kind of ask you something like, does Rear Window approve of the idea of voyeurism or something like that? It's the same question, yeah. They would just, word it better, but that does make a difference. But we can still do this one. Do you want me to word it like they would on an exam?
Yeah.
Just so that we can play with like key terms and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. Because that seems to be the thing that keeps getting you guys. Okay. Let's go with, instead, I still want to talk about voyeurism because I think that's interesting. We definitely have talked about it before at length. These kids kill me. Like, seriously, you just want to... Okay, I know you are. I'm quite comfortable with that. It's not blackmail. Good. It's definitely a threat, yes. Don't worry, I'm filming this too, Damon, so if you want to use it in court, you're more than welcome to. Okay, how could we phrase this? Does Rear Window endorse the idea, the notion, I like that, the notion of voyeurism. Discuss. Alright, so if this is our question, I like this question more. What are our key terms? Endorse, good. Which means what? Good, it means promote. Yeah, it means promote, it means approve of, support, all of those kinds of things. Right. Any words that you see as important? Voyeurism, good. Now, someone was writing an essay about voyeurism the other day with me, and they're like, it's really hard to think of synonyms that actually really fit the notion of voyeurism because it's such a specific niche kind of thing. Like, you could say watching, but it doesn't really encapsulate it. You could say stalking, but that's too far. It's like, so don't feel bad if you're writing an essay about voyeurism and you're like smashing that word a lot, because I feel like ultimately it's very hard to find a word that really fits it. Yes? You said ooh.
Yeah, because
Of course. Okay. I also think adding the word discuss on the end makes it a little interesting as well, because it's saying that you don't need to have a straightforward answer. It's saying discuss it. You don't necessarily have to sit on one side or the other. You can discuss this concept. Yeah? Ooh indeed. So, let's discuss this concept. First off, do you think Rear Window endorses the idea of the notion of voyeurism? Okay, all right, so let's go contention. What are we saying? So, kinda.
That's always what I write when I'm like figuring out.
Essay done.
Woo! That's every question in English is kind of.
Yeah, pretty much. Because we want you to be able to like turn things over and think about it and look at from all angles. We want you to do that. No, there's not one angle. Yes.
Could you sort of say that they endorse the idea of voyeurism when protecting your neighbours and stuff, but they sort of condemn the idea when it's used as a form of escapism?
Good. All right. So, Hitchcock endorses the notion of voyeurism when in the context of what?
Of like protecting your neighbours.
Watching out for dangerous people.
Yeah, security and protection. However, I'm trying to move this over. There we go. However, what? When is it not okay? When does Hitchcock go, but kind of creep? Yep.
When it's like used as a form of escapism.
Okay. When it is used as a form of escapism, or I don't even think it's even just escapism. I think also like, yeah, when it's like morally kind of corrupt. So for instance, like when the helicopter's like watching the naked ladies, or like even when Jeff is kind of being a bit lurky about Miss Torso, or when the detective is being a bit lurky about Miss Torso, you know, that's when we disapprove. Yeah. When it's used as a form of, however, when it is used as a form of escapism or is morally, when it's violating someone's privacy or is privacy,
Yeah, but I could just be like, what?
it is seen as morally. It's not that we like really condemn it though. Like we're not like, oh, that's so bad. But we're like, it's morally, I guess it's ambiguous. It's morally ambiguous. It's kind of like naughty rather than like that's really bad.
But it kind of says like stuff at the very beginning, like it's a red hot poker to the eyes.
Yeah.
In the old days, it has negative connotations from that
Yeah.
time.
And like 18 months in the workhouse. Like in the workhouse.
Let's go inappropriate. Yes, darling. Yeah, go for it.
This is more of like a
So everyone does it.
Yeah, well, we're kind of starting to like pull apart what we think. And like just because something like often I find anyway when I start writing my contention is my arguments. Like they can be one in the same.
Can be overarching ideas of your arguments.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. I find often when I'm planning my essays, my contention becomes my arguments. That I can actually split up my contention into my arguments. And that's fine. That's totally fine. Adelaide?
Could you say that he says it's dangerous and what happens? Because, like, you can't just be looking at other people's and you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. That, like, it causes people to kind of, like, jump to conclusions and stuff like that. Is that what you mean? Like,
Like, it has dangerous consequences to it.
yeah. It can often lead to dangerous.
Could you say it also kind of like makes the characters, especially like from Jeff's perspective, it like kind of accentuates the social isolation because he kind of just kind of sorry.
Is that about endorsing the notion?
That's against because it kind of makes everyone create these ideas of people that aren't actually the case. So at the very end of the movie where you see a lot of the stories for his neighbours resolved, Jeff isn't actually watching. So it's just the audience, like the viewer, that sees those. So it's kind of important because Alfred Hitchcock is kind of finishing their story for the viewer, but not for Jeff. Jeff still thinks the same things he believed at the beginning of the film about these people because we don't necessarily know that.
Hey. Yeah.
Yeah, but like it's still kind of he just kind of puts them in a box like Miss Torso. He kind of makes her seem as like a bit.
Yeah, he thinks that she's like a slut, but she's not. Yeah. She's not at all. Yeah. I liked yours better than mine, to be honest. Okay, so we've got a whole bunch of things here. We've got Hitchcock endorses the notion of voyeurism when in the context of security and protection. However, when it's used as a form of escapism or is violating someone's privacy, it's seen as inappropriate. We've also got an idea about it can often lead to dangerous consequences. So obviously that would talk about things like, poor old Lisa getting caught in Thorwald's apartment. Obviously Jeff getting his legs broken at the end. And being pursued by Thorwald and stuff like that. And then the other point, which I think is an interesting one, is can often lead to misunderstandings. A person thinks they know another person, but you can't know the full story, which we see at the end, where, like, actually Miss Torso has a partner and she's not this kind of girl about town. She's actually, waiting for her partner to come home from service, and then we have Miss Lonely Heart ends up happy in the end, and so, like, we do have that kind of idea that there's more to it than what perhaps you can see through a window. Yeah? So, that brings me to the next question, which is, what do you want to include? Because basically we can't write everything, can we? We can't write everything. And we want to start with our best argument and work down, because a lot of the time we will find that we don't get to as much as we would like to. Yeah, so you want to start with the best thing that you've got and then work back. So, what's our best point? What's something that we really need to include? How he does endorse it? Okay, well, let's put that as number 1. Okay, number 2? What do you think? These are going to be my arguments now. Well, my contention is my arguments. No. Leads to misunderstandings. You want to put that second? Yeah? Oh. That is 12. Well spotted. Thank God we've got you. And then third one? Dangerous consequences. My thought, I was just kind of thinking about it. You know what I think I would do? I think I would blend these two. I think I'd take this and I'd put this all in one paragraph. Sorry. I think I'd do that. I think I'd actually go, so I would write paragraph 1, paragraph 2. So I'd say, yes, he does endorse it, but he says it's not always kosher. And then I would do a third paragraph saying he shows that it's not always kosher because it can lead to misunderstandings, and ultimately Jeff does get slapped on the wrist by the broken legs. It's a hard slap on the wrist, but I feel like that's kind of like it's his karma. It's his comeuppance. That because he was doing something that comeuppance, yeah. It's like you get what you deserve. Yeah. Comeuppance. Yes, like karma. Yeah. Correct. Right. Ready? Damon? Focused? Alright. So I think that's probably what I would do. Just because then I can actually, I feel like that gives the third paragraph a little bit more depth. Does that make sense? Lib's kind of like, it's okay if that's not what you would do.
They're very different.
Pardon?
The last one,
Mm.
it's two different parts to it.
Well, the thing what I'm thinking about doing is taking that misunderstandings thing and saying that that's a consequence. That you making a mistake is part of your consequence. Like what you thought was wrong. And that's kind of like,
Makes sense.
yeah. And that's part of his we'll see, you're not as smart as you think you are. Yeah? Okay. So from here I've got one endorse, I've got one non-endorse, and then I'm taking it further. And kind of exploring this idea of endorsing, not endorsing further. That's kind of a really nice structure kind of template to kind of go, okay, so, agree, disagree, go further. Does that make sense? It's a good pattern. And the good thing is that if I don't get time, which you guys often found when you were in the exam, that you didn't get time to do your third paragraph, if I took that third paragraph off, I've still answered the question, haven't I? And I've still explored it to a decent amount of depth. Okay? But if I do get time to do my third, then that's brilliant. And that's the way that you've got to think in the exam, is strategically, and go, right, I've got to make sure that I get at least kicked over the 5, which would be these 2 paragraphs. They would easily kick you over the 5, and then it would depend on how well you did it. And then the third paragraph is really where you're going to shine. Yeah? So, what time is it? 18 minutes. So, we can do one of 2 things now. You can either work on a quote bank. Okay, so get together on OneNote. Everybody maybe decides on a different theme that they want to work on, or you just start compiling quotes. It's up to you. I actually think just compiling quotes is probably better, and then that way you can actually colour code what themes are which. So you do, say, because we've got 6 themes for this. Yeah, organise a table, everybody puts in quotes. Boys at the back, are you listening? It doesn't look like it. Oh, I can pause this now. You guys